Austin, I heard you ate like 5 donuts and then started eating the box. So what was that like? What prompted you to do that?
I'm not gonna sit here and be slandered.
No, yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
Sorry, Austin.
No, I'm done.
Questions need to be asked about your donut habits.
Look,
Yeah.
my sleep schedule is whack, and I knew I had to do this show, so I had to get some energy. So I didn't have any of what's this stuff called? The stuff that gives you energy?
Energy.
Cocaine.
Fuck. Just Leon, you totally took my joke. I was waiting for one of you to say caffeine, and I was gonna say no, cocaine, but then you said cocaine. So
I destroyed it.
You've ruined the whole bit.
Adenosine triphosphate?
What?
Johnny just wants to use a big word.
No, adenosine triphosphate is the chemical that makes you feel tired. It's like the longer that you are awake or without rest, your body basically creates this thing called adenosine triphosphate that locks onto receptors in your brain. So that your body goes, oh my god, we got a lot of this shit. Maybe we should have some donuts. No, that's right. Sleep. It says that we need sleep, not donuts. Who would make that mistake?
I can't tell what your podcast persona is, Johnny, because sometimes you're just like the guy who yells weird non sequiturs at the end of episodes. You're just like, "Eat styrofoam, kids!" And other times you're like, "Let me read you this chapter from this physics book." Like, what is your characterization is all over the place. Is what I'm trying to say. I think you need rewrites.
I'm sorry.
It's almost like he's a real person.
I didn't think we needed to nail characters down here.
Yeah, this isn't like a morning zoo show where it's like Funky Man and the Gorilla, So
I had my brother on my other show, my video game show, Game Crunk, and he actually wanted to do soundboard things. Was that what they're called? Soundboards, yeah. He had one on his computer and stuff, but then he forgot to use it during the show.
Good. That sounds terrible. It would have ruined your fledgling show right there in its tracks. I should probably say hello, everyone. Welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney.
The gorilla.
Oh, I wanted to be Funky Man. Okay.
No,
well,
you
anyway,
could be Funky Man. I just you said hello and you said Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney, and then as Johnny Maloney, I said the gorilla. So if you want to be Funky Man, you can be Funky Man.
Okay.
Can we? I know. Funky Man, the gorilla, and Banana Pants.
All right.
I'm Banana Pants, right?
That's fair, I guess.
I'm always chasing after your pants.
Guys, what's been going on this week with you both?
The internet's been a really crazy ass place. I can't even stand to be on Twitter for more than a couple minutes at a time because people are losing their stupid shit over the Ghostbusters reboot that I'm pretty sure we all had that conversation a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Well, that's the way life goes,
Is it?
They're not. No, look. Here's the terrible thing, about this. How do I put this? The bottom dwelling 4chan and scary hashtag people who hate the concept of the new Ghostbusters for man-child reasons will not shut up even if the movie is good, because they are among the same people who claimed The Force Awakens and Fury Road were abominable because of SJW reasons.
Yeah, but
so even if
correct me if I'm wrong, Leon. Sorry for jumping in on your toes here, but
go ahead.
Didn't
it's okay.
they not see these movies? Because to see Fury Road and The Force Awakens would obviously be a huge betrayal of their allegiance to a particular cause.
But that's what I'm trying to say. It's even if the movie, if the new Ghostbusters is just boss as fuck, it will still be a thing. But here's the opposite. It's not true. If the movie is terrible, the opposite won't happen. The people who were initially interested in the movie will shrug and say, "Well, that sucked," and move on. But let's say 4chan people will finally be able to say, "See, I told you! You ruined our childhoods for a bad movie." And they will finally have one. I realize there are probably, more reasonable reasons to just not be interested in seeing the movie, and that's totally fine. But it's basically been tainted by assholes, I guess. So, oh well. That's.
I refuse to discuss whether or not I'm interested in seeing it, because the moment that I say I'm interested or I'm not interested in seeing it, a particular person will paint me in a shadow as being like, oh, well, you're one of those, or, oh, well, see, even Johnny's on my, and I'm on nobody's. I'm on mine.
Yeah.
Also, we had the conversation already, like a bajillion years ago when it was first announced.
Yeah. I mean, for us, this doesn't matter anymore.
I'm so relieved to just be out of that game, like not reviewing stuff, not like putting myself out there. Like the emotional toll that would have taken on me to have been doing that professionally still, it would have been just catastrophic. Like I have so much sympathy for people who are still doing that thing. I'm seeing reviews like every week, and it's just like, I don't know how the authors stay sane. Ugh.
Oh well.
I imagine it's a big motivator if your rent depends on it.
I'm sure,
Well,
yeah,
there's
because
that.
everyone knows those reviewer checks are huge, right? How much did we made at BT?
You know,
I've made a small
I
business
kind of
for
feel like
myself,
the
but
number
whatever.
that I made at BT is truly incalculable. There's just like, you know, it seems like that number has been around forever, but like mathematicians have failed to actually quantify it in a system yet.
Well, the problem is that you can't divide by it. Anyway, let's be more positive. Do you guys want to talk about cool shit this week instead of sad shit?
I love cool
sure,
shit.
I mean, if you want to.
Do you guys want to hear about the restaurant that I went to?
Sure.
Crabs Are Us?
So crab, so good. It was literally a restaurant called So Crab, So Good. Now,
The sign in Comic Sans?
well, no, you see, this is like, okay, this is the thing, all right? The area of town in which I live right now is experiencing a burst of growth development. I live on basically 2 blocks away from the Vancouver equivalent of the subway, except instead of a subway, it's an above-way. But we, as ridiculous natives, call it the SkyTrain instead of the above-way. You know, I don't know why. Anyways.
Good. Keep doxing yourself. The map, the
Austin,
scope of this
that's
map
like
I'm
saying
drawing
I live
is
near
going
the
smaller.
subway in New York. Like, congratulations, fantastic.
Hey, every hint you get gets me closer to your house.
So, anyways, this giant neighborhood that I'm living in right now. Well, I shouldn't say it's a giant neighborhood, but the neighborhood is experiencing a giant amount of growth. Near where I live right now, there are, as far as I can count, no less than 7 new high-density condo towers going up, apartment towers. And only, I think, 2 of them have started construction at this point in time. Like, it's a huge amount of growth in the neighborhood. And the mayor of the subdivision of the Greater Vancouver Regional District that I live in was elected to platform on this policy, saying, we need more growth, we need more affordable housing, we're going to build up around the SkyTrain. This is the
More
plan.
crabs. Crabs for everyone.
And as a result, there's been a lot of growth in some major streets in the area that have been major streets for a while, but they've sort of lacked the local population to fuel them. So, you know, for a good 10-block radius around where I live, there are a number of streets that are just like you can just wander over, drive over, and be like, oh shit, restaurants. And so Stephanie and I decided to explore one of these streets on Monday night. And we were just looking for a place, and Monday nights are, you know, pretty bad for restaurants staying open. That's usually when they close down. And we're walking past this vacant lot, right? Mm-hmm. And we look across the street, and in this second floor window, there's like this bright Christmas light adorned sign with this big cartoony crab on it that says, So Crab, So Good. And there's no patio. There's no, you may not even necessarily know this was a restaurant. So we're like, oh, that looks a little skeevy, right? And then we see the doorway to this restaurant, and it's like in between a broken vacuum repair shop and like a secondhand handmade furniture only, like little artisan store, except it's like it's only artisan because it's so old that it's cool now again. And we're like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like, so crab, so good. What's that about? Ooh, strange, And then we walk a couple more blocks, and we get to this point in time where we're just not seeing any restaurant that's open that we want to try. There was a place called Mr. Chili that I was like, let's go to Mr. Chili, but they were closed. And yeah, so we're like, should we go to So Crab, So Good? Should we do that? That sounds like an invitation to Listeria. But we're like, okay.
This story has been like 5 minutes and you're not even in the restaurant yet.
Anyways, we go to the website. We look at the website, and they've got like 5 things on the menu, like like 10 tops, and we're like, holy shit, is this a money laundering operation? But like, okay, we have to go see. And they're signed on to all these, like, food delivery services as well, like Just Eat and, like, Click Dining and things like that. We're like, okay, if this is money laundering, then why the hell would they be on these services? We have to check this out. So we open this door, and we walk up this, like, skeevy little stairwell that has a very prominent picture of, like, a Mexican gunslinger in black and white sitting on top of a donkey. Don't ask me why I remember that, but when I saw it, I was just like, oh my god, that's amazing. And we get into this restaurant, and there's like 7 or 8 tables. 3 of them are fucking packed with people. There's a party of like 16 people sitting at one table. There's like, 2 families of 6 sitting at the other ones. And we're just like, whoa, okay, so apparently this is a thing. And we sit down, we order a couple of beers, and they bring us a menu. And yeah, there's only like 10 things on the menu, and like 6 of them are just like fried. Like fried shrimp in Asian pepper salt, fried shrimp in this, fried shrimp in that. We're like, oh, okay. But the big thing on the menu are these, like, combos, where it's like, oh, here's what comes in a combo. And we're like, okay, that's interesting, but we're still feeling unsure about the place, so we order some fried shrimp. Well, we're waiting for that.
Johnny, I mean, I love to interrupt you. I Googled So Crab, or I typed it in to Google, and it auto-completed So Crab, So Good, and I have the address here. It's in British Columbia.
Yes.
I'm sneaking up on your ass, son. I'm coming for you.
So, like, maybe you have a general neighborhood around which I live. I drove to the restaurant, Austin, so don't you worry about it. Also, I'm not confident that you have your passport.
What's that?
Hmm?
Is that the paper that lets me leave? I don't have any of that.
No, it's the paper that lets you come back.
I'm reading reviews of So Crab, So Good now. I'm waiting for Johnny's, and it's like novella length. I'm hoping.
I'm sorry, they slapped like plastic vinyl down on the table. We were like, what the hell? And then, we noticed what was going on. This guy comes out of this kitchen with this ridiculously huge metal bowl, okay? And just, upturns it on this table. This other table that these people are sitting at. And all this fucking, crab, sausage, potatoes, corn, just all of this shit just comes piling out wet on top of this table. Then he puts the bowl down, and he's like, enjoy! People put on these plastic gloves, get, their wood hammers out, and just start, wailing on this crab. It was so neat.
I'm reading... Hey, you guys want to hear a review for So Crab, So Good?
Does it have the word listeria in it?
No. Here's one from NC. It says, if it wasn't so dull and cheaply decorated, I would have frequented this place a lot more. The food is great. Ample seafood with pasta and tasty, spicy sauce. I don't know why I'm fascinated by these reviews.
The shrimps came out whole. I'm talking heads, tails, legs, everything. Piping hot, these guys went down to the docks and bought a bunch of fresh shrimp, that fucking day. And it was just, it was so crab, you guys. So crab.
Oh, man. This is quite a thing this show has turned into. I'm gonna try to find the most negative one, because those will probably be funny.
It looked weird. It did. It looked like I expected to walk in and see 2 guys with 6 fingers between the 2 of them playing dominoes or something.
Oh yeah, here's a review from Susie D that says the second floor restaurant is level with the alley, so backdoor access with parking worked fine. We did note the massage parlor next door, complete with red light under the awning. So cool neighborhood.
Yeah, I didn't go out the back door.
Man, if you would have died on your adventure to So Crab So Good, that would have been a really sad tale to end the show on. Sorry, guys, no more word funk. One of our hosts got shanked in a crab alley. Okay,
yeah, but
no,
that would be something to put on a headstone, though. So I think I'd be comfortable with that.
Here's another review. There is really only one thing you need to know about this place. It is called So Crab So Good. Yet they have exactly one dish that has crab in it.
They
no
really
crab.
do.
No crab, no go.
No crab, no good.
Oh my god!
Although
Leon,
I didn't have crab. I had shrimp, and it was still so good. So
I'm gonna keep reading until Leon stops me.
Please stop. Please stop now, Johnny. It's a great story about the fact that you went to a restaurant. But I'm really happy that you had a good time and also shrimp. Sure would love to move on.
I'm sorry, Leon. I'm just struggling for things to talk about now that certain topics are off the table.
Oh, well, okay, that's fair.
Cool passive aggression.
Yeah.
I have other topics if you want them, Leon.
Please. Oh yeah, I'll tell you a quick story about what happened to me this week. I'm gonna Cliff Notes it because it's not hard to do that.
Are we just gonna snipe at each other the whole time? Is this what this is?
So much shade.
I don't care. I don't care what you guys fucking say. My Oculus Rift should be here by the end of the week. Fuck y'all.
Good. Okay. A couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that someone in a parking lot came up to me and tried to sell me hot merchandise, and his pitch was, "Hey, you want a home theater system?" A couple of days ago, someone else rolled up to me and said, "Hey, you want a home theater system?" But it was not in a parking lot of an electronics store. It was at an intersection in the rain in a residential zone, which was super creepy. So that also happened.
What time of day was it?
It was in the afternoon.
Okay.
One of my new favorite things. This hasn't always happened, but recently Johnny always asks for really specific details from other people's things. I'm interested in how he's gotten to that as his thing.
What color shoes was I wearing? Well, I was wearing black shoes. I have 2 pairs of black shoes. I was wearing black shoes number 1. I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember what the names are on my shoes.
And what size?
I don't remember.
Someday, scientists will be able to reconstruct us from these recordings, like mosquitoes trapped in amber. They'll be able to remake Leon, Johnny, and Austin.
You don't remember what size shoes you wear, Leon?
I think it's 10.5. I don't care enough to remember it.
What about when you have to buy new shoes?
Well, that's pretty rare. But then I look. I look at the bottom of them when I have to. Look, sometimes I don't remember how old I am.
You mean you just you never find yourself in want of shoes?
I don't know, once a year I need a new pair of shoes because I've worn out the other one. So then I go to a shoe store and I'm like, I would like new shoes, please. Actually, that's not true. I don't ask anyone.
Do you remember your pants size?
Not off the top of my head.
No. Oh God.
Plus it changes.
I worry when Leon says things and I identify with them a lot. That's not a road I want to go down. But yeah, that's how I shop for shoes. I go in and the first black pair of size 12s I see are going home with me. That's
kind of it. That's kind of, I say, oh, okay, well these are black and we'll go with stuff, and then I put them on my leg hands, and then I walk out of the store. Usually not with them on, because I don't feel like it. Give my old shoes one last thrill, and get into the car, and then change them into on my body.
Wait, are you parodying him? Is that what's happening right now?
Yes, that's what's going on. And then I put my new shoe the right shoe anyway, onto the accelerator and drive home.
And do we need
so
to
then
have
it-
like a podcast aside to settle some interpersonal differences? 'Cause I don't know if we want this to bleed over into the audience-facing section, guys. Do we have problems?
That way,
No,
that
this
way
for me
it
this
will-
is old hat. People have been telling me that I talk too much for pretty much my entire life. I have come to accept it.
When I put my shoe on the accelerator, I feel like my shoe now knows what it is like to be Leon, and it will become part of me in a spiritual sense, at least for about 6 to 12 months, until there's a tear in them that I can no longer stand.
But during that time, Leon, you remember very little about those shoes, including the
Yes,
size of them and the make and everything. And that says to me that you're very neglectful towards yourself as a person. You should care for yourself better.
No, I care enough about myself, but these shoes are like way the hell on the other side of my body.
Wordfunk
whereas my-
episode 108. Johnny gets dragged.
And so
Leon,
that's
your
basically-
feet are still a part of you. You should respect them.
But my shoes are not. My shoes are not a part of
I thought you just said
They
that
are-
your shoes grow to know what it feels to be a part of Leon.
Not only spiritually, not physically.
Of course, but spiritually, don't you feel yourself also connected to those shoes?
I'm going to spiritually
no.
kick both of you from the Skype call. How do you feel about that?
I started it. I don't know. I feel like I shed my shoes spiritually, much in the same way that your cells replace themselves. Look, this isn't important. So Austin, why don't you pick a new topic for us to talk about?
Okay, I have a topic lined up here. I'm going to put a link in the Skype chat, and I'll probably tweet this out sometime later in the week if people want to see this article that I'm going to be referring to. You don't really need to read the whole thing. I'll explain the important bits. But I came across this article recently about the origin of Chewbacca from Star Wars, and there's like a pretty good documentation about various sources saying that they contributed to it in some way. I know early drafts of Lucas's script had him as a different style alien sidekicks, and he had different backstories. At one point he was like a prince or something, and they've changed it, and someone said it was inspired by like this dog or something. But this article, it's very long, very detailed, very well researched, basically goes into some of this, and it kind of explains the way that people misremember stuff, or stuff gets misreported or conflated. The thing that came to me as most interesting was, if you remember a couple weeks ago, I talked about how Dungeons and Dragons stole a monster from George R.R. Martin and never credited him.
Githyanki.
Exactly. In this article, it's shown that the Chewbacca design they ended up going with is basically 100% wholesale ripped off from a illustration of a George R.R. Martin science fiction story that was published the year before Star Wars came out. And like the cover of this book is just like right there in the article. It's called boop-a-doop-doop. It's called And Seven Times Never Kill Man, which is a really bad name for a thing, but it definitely has a Wookiee on the cover with
I don't know,
a
it would have been a
bowcat.
great name for a science fiction story in the 70s.
Maybe they had different standards. Also a metal band, but he has the bowcaster and the like. It's just like a furry alien dude, and there's some concept art from the artist who apparently also did illustrations for the Dune novel. So it's like a famous dude, and they look exactly like the concept art for Chewbacca, and they're like, when you see them side by side, it's like undeniable. And I just thought that was really interesting. That once again, George R.R. Martin has been ripped off wholesale and been totally chill about it. Someone put in the YouTube comments of that Wordfunk episode where I told that story that they were at like a theater that George R.R. Martin runs, and like they brought like wolves from like a wolf rescue in, and he got to pet it and stuff. Like this dude just seems like a good addition to this planet in general. I think he's a good dude.
He's a
But
pretty
also-
chill pimp. Which
How
is
is
funny
this not-
because he loves killing his creations.
They're fictional though, so I mean, it's all good. It's where he gets the aggression out. But how is this not more
People get so
widely
attached
known?
to fictional creations. It's weird.
They do. And wow, I had some feelings about this week's Game of Thrones, but no one else wants to talk about that. Or I guess no one else on here has seen it.
I
But,
haven't started yet. Sorry, I'm still working
yeah.
through some backlog.
I haven't summoned the energy to care.
Living with a grad student, Austin, is demanding on the time that you have together. So when you have it together, obviously you go to So Crab, So Good!
Don't make me pull up the reviews. I'll start in again.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
But yeah, Chewbacca, guys. The article also notes that you could remove him from the script and it doesn't affect anything. Really, like Chewbacca doesn't do anything in A New Hope.
Well, not entirely. I mean, you need Chewbacca to wear the manacles because otherwise, no, he's the bait. He's the fake prisoner.
And they couldn't have done that with anybody else.
Well, I guess Han Solo could have worn the Stormtrooper outfit and then said, "Oh, here's Luke Skywalker. He's just a random prisoner, but he doesn't look like very threatening."
Leon, how thoroughly do you have the script for Star Wars Episode 4 memorized?
I'm just thinking about everything that Chewbacca does and says in the movie, and by says I mean growls. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like a few like amusing scenes would be missing, and also that was his only like pivotal moment.
And comedic relief is important.
But they also had C-3PO and R2-D2. They had the comic relief.
Yeah, but they have they are comic relief, but they are also like more pivotal characters.
His presence also makes Han Solo a bit more of a sympathetic character.
Yeah,
because you can you can tell that Han Solo does make friends.
At least one thing can stand him.
And that's important, like when you think about the characterization of Han Solo in the first movie, for like 90% of his presence, he's an asshole.
Yep.
He talks himself up, kills a dude in a bar, talks himself up some more, manages to like get them like caught in a tractor beam, and then when it's like, oh god, we have to get out of here, he's like, how much will you pay me? Like
he's very Ronaldo.
And I feel like Ronaldo wouldn't be nearly as sympathetic if he didn't have someone like Anne around.
Yeah. I mentioned on a previous episode of Dice Funk that actually I've mentioned a few times, one of his only redeeming qualities is that he really cares about Anne. So yeah, there might be something to that. So yeah, Chewbacca.
Chewbacca is a mood inroad, Austin.
What a Wookiee.
Yeah. Did you guys have any other topics? I swear to God I had something else, but I can't remember off the top of my head now. Should have wrote it in the chat.
I mean, I had a couple things, but
Nolan Bushnell follows me on Twitter now. That's pretty dope.
Which one is that?
He founded Atari and Chuck E. Cheese's.
Oh.
I thought that was cool. Anyways.
Not on the same day.
No, you wouldn't think so.
That would have been an eventful ass day.
That's what you call a life-defining moment. If it was like, I've got these 2 contracts. Which one to sign? Maybe I'll do both.
Okay, we actually have to be good at this for a little bit tonight. How do you guys feel? How do you feel about questions?
Might as well. I mean, we were starting questions way earlier than usual, but I was going to get into a whole thing about what's going on in my Twitter timeline as it pertains to some guy I'm supposed to care about in my community. But basically, the entire conversation became more and more unpleasant.
Leon,
because of
out of context here, something that doesn't have to stay in the show. Are we talking specifically about James Rolfe talking about not going to see Ghostbusters?
And now it's like tainted. So, it's like, fuck it. So yeah, we can absolutely do questions.
Okay.
You guys don't want to talk about the other things that I wanted to talk about?
I'm sorry, Johnny. What would you like to talk about?
Oh, I was going to talk about how
don't say seafood.
No. I was going to talk about how Ronald Moore of Star Trek: The Next Generation, Battlestar Galactica, and Outlander repute is starting a show that's going to be a what's the word I'm looking for? Anthology series about the writings of Philip K. Dick. Do you guys like Philip K. Dick? Do you care about the writings of Philip K. Dick?
I care about the writings of Philip K. Dick in the sense that it was the basis for Blade Runner.
Yeah, of course. He also did the stuff that's Total Recall is based on, The Scanner Darkly. He's like half the good science fiction shit.
Yeah, he's a deep mind for adaptation, for old hands at adaptation. Well, but anyways, so yeah, Bryan Cranston and Ronald Moore are going to be doing a 10-part sci-fi anthology series, which I suppose means it's probably going to be something like Black Mirror or Twilight Zone or The Outer Limits or something like that, called Electric Dreams: The World of Philip K. Dick.
Yeah, I mean, most of the good stuff's already been adapted. I know there's like a current Man in the High Castle series going on right now, and there's, of course, this classic movies from the 80s and whatnot. I don't know how much like stuff there is to do faithfully. Is this like a spiritual thing? Like we're going to adapt to the themes of Philip K. Dick and the style of Black Mirror? Or is it just going to be, we're going to do Total Recall again?
It looks like it's all going to be adapted works.
Okay.
So, and I mean, like, he's got a lot of really good punchy short fiction, like really short fiction, because
I actually think he works better in short form than honestly his novels.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. You kind of like get to the point faster and go, oh, we were the monsters all along, as opposed to, I don't know, drawing it out M. Night Shyamalan style. But
he's better at themes and ideas than characters, and you need a character to carry a longer form work.
Yeah, absolutely. It got me thinking about how when The Expanse came out not that long ago, I was talking about how we don't really have any more good science fiction. That science fiction has kind of fallen off to the wayside, that like everybody wants fantasy now because Game of Thrones was really popular. But there have been a bunch of announcements since then about science fiction stuff coming back. We've got Brian Fuller helming the Star Trek reboot, of which today they released the first teaser, which had like, the logo in it.
It told us precisely nothing.
Yeah, I was a little weirded out though that they were like new crews.
Yeah, some people.
Yeah. That could confirm or like half confirm anyway that we're looking at like one season, then the next season is a different crew and anthology stuff.
Yeah. So
I get the sense they don't have a lot of faith in it, honestly, and the whole thing where they're like showing one episode on TV and then locking the rest behind a subscription service and stuff. It doesn't feel like a confident move the way they're taking this right now. It could be good. I'm just saying it doesn't read as a studio who's really excited for a thing, and more like we have this IP, we have these rights, might as well make a thing.
I'm inclined to follow because Brian Fuller's leading, because I've loved just about everything he's done. But that was a little weird. I'm just pointing that out, right? And we've got there's rumors of Jonah Nolan doing The Foundation for HBO, because they probably want something to follow Game of Thrones up with. And also, what's the other one? He's already doing Westworld for HBO too. Like, where the hell did all this science fiction come from? It seemed like 1 minute I was in a desert and it didn't exist. And now everybody's like, oh, you know what's going to be the next big thing? Science fiction!
From a boardroom perspective, I imagine that the revival of Star Wars has a lot to do with it. If I'm a CEO suit somewhere and I see all that mad Star Wars cash flowing in, I feel like a pretty A to B explanation is just that they want to get in on that, right? It's overly simplistic, but that feels like a pretty simple business decision.
No, I sort of feel like everybody was listening to me, Austin. That everybody is paying attention to all the things that I had to say, because I'm really important, and everybody should listen to me.
You're what they call a tastemaker.
That's right.
Or no, was it now? It's influencer is the new hot term.
You're just saying that because I started saying influencer like 8 months ago.
Yeah, you influenced me. Do you guys remember Cool Hunters? I think that's from a Gibson novel. There's like it's pattern recognition, right?
Yeah.
The book where the main character in pattern recognition is a cool hunter, which is a made up job for the book, where she like goes around and like identifies trends before they hit it big, so she can like sell them to companies. And it's like this really, I think it's supposed to be dystopian, but it's like exactly what companies are doing with YouTubers. Basically, is like sending them shit to like AstroTurf, and it's really prescient. Probably just doesn't make any sense to anyone who hasn't read this book or follow internet trends, so I apologize.
It's gonna be okay, Austin.
Do people know about like that stuff? Like, do people know like, all YouTubers use like close up pictures of like wacky faces on their thumbnails because it increases traffic and stuff like that?
I've learned, in attempts to grow my business, I've tried to learn more and more, as much as I possibly can, about what it will take for people to click on my my video, and some things are perfectly reasonable. And I've tried to adopt them. And some things I just couldn't, live with myself if I did them. Things I have made sure I always do in my, for example, the just the banner, the thumbnail is it's important to show a human face, because basically the human eye responds to that like very immediately. So previous episodes where I didn't do that have been trouble, whereas now I always make sure I have a human face on it. For example, I was trying to pick the banner for Spartacus, which is my next episode coming up, and I was like, oh, this one shot I really love. It's like basically a silhouette of like him and riding on horseback, and you can barely see anything. It's just a really beautiful shot. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, no one will like that because it will not draw the eye in a meaningful way, because I need a human face on it. So instead, my banner is now Spartacus's big chin, just there with a sword. Another thing that draws people's eyes, and this is an unfortunate part of our culture, is weapons. So I made sure that we can see his sword. Another thing that draws the eye are I forget what it's called, contrasting colors. So that is a thing. So things like that I've tried to just put into basically just the image so that people will click on it. Things that also draw people in that I just refuse to do are titles that promise something amazing, and then basically a title that is not a title but a description.
This one YouTube video will blow your mind about YouTube video metrics.
Things along those lines.
These 10 facts about Spartacus will restore your faith in humanity.
Right. Like, if
you're
Leon,
absolutely
right.
You could have used a picture of me for your Spartacus video. Do you know why?
Why, Johnny?
Because he's Spartacus.
Because I am Spartacus.
All right. First of all, the line is "I'm Spartacus." No one ever says "I am Spartacus" in Spartacus. It's always "I'm Spartacus." But okay. Just gonna be a pedantic asshole about this. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is that, as someone who's, my livelihood depends on this, I try to look into everything I can to just get people to click here, please. And then if you like it, you might stay and subscribe. And if you don't, you'll just fuck off, and that's okay. But there's some things I'm just not really comfortable doing. The main reason I'm even on camera at all is because there's constant articles about the fact that you need to endear yourself in some way, or basically show a human face and make people connect with you.
Develop a rapport with the audience.
Yeah, and since I can do that just by talking to them, me being a disembodied voice is not beneficial to the show. So once a month I do an episode where I talk on camera, and believe it or not, even though it doesn't look like it, it takes about as much work as the ones that look far more highly edited, just because I'm so terrible on camera, and so stressed out that it just takes so much longer to record and piece together.
Do you find that it doesn't get easier for you? I mean,
does
I'm
not.
sure that your time must be cutting down.
I've gotten the traditional episodes down to a science. Like this is this and this and this, and like click, 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 and then I can get it done in a reasonable amount of time. The other ones, I hate looking at myself so much that I have to pause constantly to kind of like shake my head. Finding a thumbnail for the ones where I'm on camera is hell. So there's also that. I could go on and on about how well I know an episode will do based on a various amount of things, and why I talk about certain movies and don't talk about other movies on my show. But it would just go on and on forever. But I can usually just get a general idea of how many people will click on my episode based on the movie, and yeah, but really almost exclusively now based on the movie, since I've got the thumbnail stuff all down to a science, and I know what my audience is. If a movie is recent, good. If a movie is popular, good. If a movie is not even popular, just well known, good. These are all positives. If a movie is not in English, it will do badly on my show, even though half of my audience are not native English speakers. They just, it's their second language. But because, I'm an American and I attract, native English speakers. If I show foreign movies on my show, unless it's anime, it will not, it will almost certainly do poorly. But I keep doing it anyway because I hate the idea that I would not. If it is older, if a movie is older than me, basically, so many more well over 30 years old, it will do poorly. If it is black and white, it will do poorly. So that's that. I kind of know what my episodes are going to be before I do them, which is why I originally had a plan to do a month dedicated to Ingmar Bergman, because that's one of my favorite directors, and I would love to do more about Bergman.
You're just going to do a month dedicated to no one watching your show.
Right. I basically said, okay, if I commit to this, because it is foreign, and most of them are very old, and most of them are in black and white, and frankly not super popular among native English speakers, I know for a fact that I'm going to have 4 episodes in a row that will do below average numbers. And although ad revenue is not super important, new viewers and the possibility for new patrons, that's super important. So anyway, this is not... Sorry, none of this is interesting to anyone but me and other YouTubers, so I apologize if all of that was just like... You would rather have had a heat stroke than listen to the last 10 minutes of this show. But, since you brought it up, I thought I would fetch a little.
I mean, I don't know. We've never had anyone complain about inside baseball stuff. I find a lot of it fascinating because, I mean, I've never been a YouTuber, but I was, in quote-unquote journalism, both video games and more traditional before. And do you know Betteridge's Law of Headlines?
What's that?
It's this idea that you can lie in your headline if you just phrase it as a question, basically.
Yep.
So,
I know that. I know that. I just didn't know it was called that. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically like, have we found the cure for cancer? Like, even if the answer is no, it doesn't matter. Like, people are going to want to read the article because they think maybe we've solved cancer. And so you can basically just say whatever you want in the headline. I mean, I think the actual adage is any headline with a question mark is the answer is no, because otherwise you would have just said the thing like we've solved cancer or aliens invade. Like you would have just said it. But if you phrase it as a question, you're hedging basically, and so you can almost always discount those. But that's just like a trick. Or something to avoid. You learn. Most people who want to be successful use it.
So, so have aliens invaded?
I mean, I don't read the news, Johnny, but I feel like you would know the answer to that.
Okay.
If it happened.
And that's kind of like my point. Like I'm willing to modify the show to be not exactly what I want it to be. By that I mean most of the episodes are still about movies that are in English. And most of the episodes are about, I wouldn't say recent films, but films within the span of my lifetime. So, almost 34 years now. But I'm not willing to go too far with that because then the show will just suck. It'll be a completely different show where I'm like just yelling about bad movies and making it like a wacky face to the camera, and the titles of my episodes will be things like 5 things that made Barry Lyndon super weird, you know. You know, it's funny. It's like, I don't know. I could go on, but anyway, yeah. I mean, for anyone who's interested in this sort of thing, that's kind of how part of how I have to make decisions about what episodes I will be making and what episodes I will not be making. For anyone who didn't care about any of that, sorry.
Yeah,
I guess.
See, if I was releasing your Barry Lyndon video and I wanted to get as much traffic as possible, I would have named it all caps. Stanley Kubrick movie you didn't know existed! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Kubrick sucks? Question mark? Question mark?
Oh my.
That's actually a thing that you see a lot. Like anytime a big game or movie comes out, people will put "sucks" in the title because then people Googling will like, does the new Doom suck? And then that will come up or something because it's a very like common way to phrase it. Yeah, search engine optimization, it's called SEO, is the idea that you want to put certain words in there that are often Googled and so get you pushed to the front of the algorithm basically. But wow, that's a super depressing hole to go down. I mean,
I find this all fascinating just because it's like it's illustrative of kind of the complicit culture that we all have. Because this is shit you can't escape. You can't escape SEO. You can't. Even if you think you're like, I don't care about SEO, it's like, congratulations. It really doesn't give a shit. It's in your life. It governs the way that like a lot of information is brought to you. And people who know how to play the game play it very well.
It's not opt-in, but you can decide to the extent that you want to leverage it. Like Leon says, he'll change up a thumbnail because it's no skin off his back. It doesn't compromise like his content of his video, but he's not gonna like change the format if it would make him unhappy with the things he's doing. And like I think that's a fair compromise. But if I don't know. It's disheartening, I guess, to see people who play the game and succeed and think, well, I could just do that. Like I could just scream at video games on YouTube. People
Does the new word funk suck?
I mean, yeah, almost certainly.
Oh yeah, almost assuredly.
Sometimes I don't know if I'm gonna leave this in. Sometimes I think it would be funny to every time I have to deal with someone who's just a fucking monster as it relates to the business that I am in, which happens like several times a day. I want to put it in the WordFunk chat and then read it at the end of the week, but I feel like it would come across really badly because just as we were talking, I just checked my email and there is a new comment on my video from Predator, which was like from 2 years ago, and the first thing he says is, "No group is entitled to representation in media," and I just oh, so you're just someone with really bad opinions. Yes. I don't need to pay attention to you anymore. All right.
You can tell that person approached this interaction with an open mind. That's my favorite part.
Oh god.
No, but I mean that's an old ass video, right? That's someone who's just trawling around the internet looking to pick fights because they hate women or whatever.
I don't know. It's.
I mean,
like I said, I could do this like every single. Oh, here's a fun one. Someone on every like I said before, every time someone requests a video from me for reasons that should be obvious, and by the way, this happens several times a day. I say, request go through my Patreon. Link is in the description. It would be like literally impossible for me to respond to basically unpaid requests for movies, and not just because I want to do my own thing and I think I know what is better for my show because of all the reasons I just listed before, but also because it would be impossible. I can make one episode of Renegade Cut a week, and I get 4 requests a day. Like, over the years that I've been making videos online, that has, if I really were making a list, it would be in the 4 digits by now. So it would not be possible for me to do that. I make an exception because, okay, it might encourage you to become my patron, and that's the only way I get paid. So I let a few of those slide. But beyond that, I just can't. So someone in my comment section, I said my normal thing that I do several times a day. I say request through my Patreon, and usually people figure out what that means. They click on it, and then they find the thing on my front page that says how much that costs. But instead, this person just messaged me on Patreon and listed over 20 movies that he wants me to do, and is not planning to pay.
I have a question. How many of those 20 movies have you actually done already?
None. He completely misunderstood what I meant.
Utterly.
I just feel like I've said it so many times that people should get it by now.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, a couple of things. One, I don't think you need to cut this out because I think everyone who actually is like a fan of your work knows this. Like, these are just randos who stumble upon your shit and feel entitled to your time and energy.
Okay.
Another thing is that I wonder, and I've thought about this for a long time working on the internet, how many of the bad interactions I have are just kids, like literally like just like 10 years old. They don't know
There's no
shit.
way to tell.
They don't know shit about shit.
The only reason I assume that the vast majority of my audience are not children is because Google Analytics says that they're not. But those analytics are probably not 100% accurate. They're probably closer to accurate than me guessing. Like the website I used to work for, their audience skewed young. My audience apparently skews older. Only according to my Google Analytics, only 2% of my audience is under 18, which is extremely low.
Yeah, well, the money's in the teenagers. They're the people watching the PewDiePies and all the Minecraft Let's Plays and stuff. That's where you want to be. You've cultivated a very specific, like, college age pretentious viewer.
No.
I mean, that's me. That's me too. I'm not throwing shade. That's me.
No, you're showing a little shade, but that's okay. No. The money, that's where the money is if you have lots and lots and lots of viewers. If you have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, then yes, you absolutely want the young crowd because they will click, and clicks can equal ad revenue. But if you're a guy like me, a sort of, I have, 12,000 people subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is not nothing. But if you're a guy like me, you want older, because older people have money. And I've learned, and if I've learned anything from previous jobs in the service industry, kids don't tip. So if you're reliant on Patreon, which I am, then you want older. If you're PewDiePie, you want them all, but younger is good. So I'm really
sound like a predator.
No.
Gotta catch them all.
Get them while they're
No.
young and fly 'em.
Anyway, I didn't like mean for this to happen. By the way, it wasn't like I made Renegade Cut and I'm like, I'm only going after the adults, because I didn't know Patreon would be a thing back then. This was years ago.
I mean, you were just doing what you were interested in. You're like, what would I watch if I was watching a thing, right?
Right. That I did a thing that ended up being things that adults like and young people do not like at all, which is totally fine. And it just so happened that a platform appeared that made it very beneficial for me to have an audience such as that, which is why my Patreon, even though there are like much bigger names in my community, my Patreon does better than most. And it's not because like my show is so much better or that I have a bigger audience, because I don't. It's because my audience just happens to be the kind of audience that will tip, and kids don't.
So you heard it here first. Renegade Cut viewers are smart, sophisticated, and successful.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I'm not just like
Leon Thomas
off my audience,
shaking it for tips.
Oh my. Anyway, we've talked like way too long about stuff that might be interesting to some people. I wonder how interesting this is to other people, but I guess I'll just leave it all in and see what people say in the comments.
Okay, let's get back to regular pace. Dicks.
Yeah, dicks.
They're pretty
no,
good. Do you know
no.
Do you know cats have barb dicks?
I did know that, actually.
I've heard of that.
You don't you don't want to know why I know that.
I once saw my cat's dick, and I was like, "Ugh, what was that? Why is this happening?" I was like, "You go away." I don't have a cat anymore. This was many years ago when I first saw my cat's penis.
Why would they evolve like that? Checkmate, atheists. I don't.
Because it apparently makes it very difficult to remove once it's been inserted.
Okay. First question.
Yeah, let's see questions.
No, before we continue, I just want to say briefly on the news of dicks. Warner Brothers and DC Entertainment have announced that they're going to have DC Films now, a new division. So that's Warner Brothers executive president John Berg and chief content officer for DC Entertainment are going to be running this new division of people who are going to be slowly watching DC films run down the drain before they make a smart decision and let go of Zack Snyder.
Yeah, they've been talking about that for a while. A bunch of shakeups based on the poor reception of Batman v Superman.
So, I don't know. Maybe I'll be in the movie theater to see a DC film sooner rather than later. Curious to see how that pans out. All right. Questions?
Yeah, let's hit it.
Or unless you've got something you want to say on the subject, Leon.
Not especially. I'm going to see Suicide Squad regardless of how it is branded as DC films or whatever. I'm just, I have to show up because it is my job to watch big movies and sometimes small movies and all kinds of movies.
I just don't want anybody to think that because of my attitude, I'm a Marvel fan. Like, I'm not a Marvel boy. Again, like I said this easier, I'm not on your side, I'm not on their side, I'm on my side here.
Yeah.
I'm just not on Snyder's side.
Like, if a movie's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. It doesn't matter who they made, who made it, right? Like,
absolutely.
Good directors make bad movies, and Marvel makes bad movies. Iron Man 2 and 3 suck. They suck. So,
did you read that Shane Black just said the other day, the guy who wrote and directed Iron Man 3, that he wanted the Mandarin to be a woman?
Yep.
Yeah.
But the toy wouldn't sell. Also, did you read that Lionhead, that when they got shut down, they released this whole expose, I think on Eurogamer, where they talked about how they wanted to put a black woman on the cover of Fable 3, but Microsoft said no.
That was a really good read.
I actually read a bit of that, and apparently someone justified it as, well, what the worst grossing Disney movie ever was, The Princess and the Frog. First of all, I looked it up, and that is not true at all. It didn't do as well as some. It actually did. It did well, and much better than many others. So that's a bunch of bullshit. That's just something someone wanted to say to justify racism. So take that.
Isn't it weird? It's a weird coincidence how all the excuses made for bullshit, sexist, and racist behavior are usually factually incorrect. Isn't that weird? It's almost like they're made up.
But Austin, who would do that to us?
All right.
Okay. We're an hour in. Let's do questions.
All right, questions.
All right. Professor J, Doctor of Questions, asks, favorite movie of 2016 so far?
Ooh.
I don't know how many movies I've seen. I don't really go to the theater. Hold on, let me check.
It might be Hail Caesar. Hold on. I mean, I could look up everything I've seen.
Because, a bunch of good movies have come out. I just haven't seen them. Like, I hear that 10 Cloverfield Lane is good. The Witch is good. Deadpool. Jungle Book. Like, I hear all these kind of movies are good, but the only one I've seen is Batman v Superman.
Oh, that's sad. I guess Hail Caesar is the one I had the most fun watching. So maybe that. It's not the best movie I've seen this year, but it's the best movie of 2016.
It's because of your stupid show, Leon. I didn't want to see it.
Well,
oh,
there you go.
I hear Civil War and Green Room are good. I haven't seen either of those.
Oh, yeah.
Zootopia. I'm just going down this list. There's like a ton. 2016 seems like a great year for movies. I just have not been to the theater.
Can you send me that list? Because I'm not sure I have either.
I just literally typed in 2016 movies into Google, and there was like a ticker at the top of the page.
Okay. All right, then we're looking at the same thing.
Okay. Hey, guys, we're good at Google. Next question?
Yeah, go for it.
Robert, Lady Killer
I'm just going to
asks,
go ahead and say that I saw this movie in the future and I'll travel back in time, The Neon Demon.
Well, I'm going to see it, sure. Absolutely.
That might be the only movie that I go into the theaters to see this year.
Haven't even heard of that.
It's Nicholas Winding Refn's next one.
Oh, fuck, I'm there.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves is in it.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I want to see Nicholas Winding Refn direct Keanu Reeves. I want that so bad. I didn't even know I wanted that.
I'm one of the weirdos who liked Only God Forgives, so.
Oh, I love it.
Me
That's
too.
one of my
Fantastic
favorite movies.
movie. I don't know what anybody else was talking about.
We found 3 people who know each other who like that movie. Robert.
Although I do want to see Nice Guys too. Shane Black's new movie.
Oh yeah.
I want to see that. That looks good.
I'm definitely gonna see it. Yeah. I'll see Ryan Gosling in anything.
Me
He's
too.
just so dreamy.
I will see Ryan Gosling in my bedroom.
Oh yes.
With a cheese plate.
This show is so gay.
Of course it is. Okay, I'm sorry. Go. We have so many questions, probably.
Yeah,
let's do them.
A ton of questions.
All right.
Okay, this one I think we have some explaining to do. Robert Paulson asks, "Why do you guys hate Sean? Who is he?"
I don't hate Sean. I mean, I don't. We're not friends exactly, but we know of each other's existence, and I mean, he's probably mostly okay. But I'm sure he's a swell guy. But the anti-Sean stuff is, I guess, a joke from Blister Thumbs that Austin and Johnny are more familiar with. I did not follow his stuff or anyone else's stuff at Blister Thumbs.
Which is why he agreed to do this show with us in the first place, because obviously if he had followed his stuff, I'm sure "go to hell" would have been the first words out of his mouth.
So, if you guys want to talk about Sean, you can. I don't.
He was a writer at BT. He had really bad opinions, and we started joking on him, and it got out of hand, and it became it just it grew and it grew like the blob who ate everyone. And
he was a very prolific contributor to Blistered Thumbs as well.
Of garbage opinions.
Well, this was one of the things.
I can't even tell anymore. I genuinely can't tell how much of this is a joke anymore. Like, I'm just so used to being an asshole. I don't know where the line is anymore.
I remember that as a contributor myself, when I had time to contribute during the day because I was working a job, I would usually log on to the site to find an article that was either ill-informed, poorly written.
Yeah, I think the root of my, like, the actual vitriol came from just as an editor constantly having to change, like, grammatical and spelling stuff, and that real frustration mixed with the joke frustration of him having bad opinions on things like Final Fantasy 13, and it created this, like, hybrid chimera of, like, sort of hate and, like, just
because he was a workhorse as well. Like, at the same time, I don't think because we moved around from system to system in terms of, like, BT did not write or did not run like any other writing site that or review site that I'd ever really kind of been familiar with. For a good portion of time, it was like the Wild West out there, in where we were not even assigned reviews, we were not assigned article topics. We were not, like, there was really little organization in the early days, and it was just sort of like you write an article about what you wanted to write. So we'd go into the WordPress login and see, if anybody else was drafting something up, and then you'd pen a title and then save the draft so that nobody else would steal the title while you were trying to write it. And then go ahead and write your article. And this was the same with games too, where it was like nobody came up to you and said, "Listen, I think you understand real-time strategy games better than most people." It was just like everything's up for grabs. And
I like to think that I instituted more order when I became editor-in-chief. I know, like, from a managerial side, like, I would secure more review copies in a month than the entire regime did in its totality.
Yeah, I don't want to speak ill of anybody who was running Blistered Thumbs at the time. People may not remember, but there was he's a much more popular fellow these days, and he's a very hard worker. And he pushes himself to limits that he probably shouldn't for his own health, but it just meant that trying to do what he does on a daily basis and also having the time to manage a site himself was probably not possible.
I don't even know what the point of the subtlety is at this juncture.
I don't know, I don't want to disparage anybody by name because I'm fond of pretty much everybody that I worked with at Blistered Thumbs. I think everybody there was had their heads screwed on straight for the most part,
Well, not that one guy.
Except Sean.
But no, that's not what I mean. That's not what I meant, but okay.
I mean, you can cut this out of the show. Are we talking around?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder how many people are...
Hold on.
Yeah.
Do you want me to cut all of that out? I just want to double check.
Yeah, I don't want to call anybody out by name.
Okay,
No.
fair enough.
No one by name.
Yeah, let's acknowledge that there was a cut, but not explain what was in the cut, because it got real, and now we're back. Hey, what's up?
And
hey,
everybody did a great job there, and I have nothing bad to say about anybody.
No, I seriously do like almost everybody we worked with, and like I'm not even like there's no point in couching the language. Like I think Joe is a super nice guy, and I think everyone like that I would talk at all about it would be nice things.
He's great at his job. He's grown so much, just like his own brand and things like that. And it was like if he had done the same with Blistered Thumbs, like if he had put as much effort into Blistered Thumbs as his project, as opposed to trying to manage his own project and Blistered Thumbs, it probably would have ended differently. But you can't.
They weren't paying him.
No, I know.
As far
it's
so,
like,
I mean,
you can't build a
why
media
would he?
empire like when you're doing your own thing and also trying to manage a team full of writers. We were running around like headless chickens. Right. Austin, you were a community contributor first, weren't you?
Yeah, I started as a forum moderator, and then I was like an editor, and then I was a writer. And then when Joe was removed, Johnny, you were actually the first up to replace him, and ended up not happening, and then it was me.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it was when I was first there. It was the fucking Wild West.
And this circles back to what we were talking about earlier about like ways to play the system to make success, and there are certain things that work on YouTube that don't work in print. And those skills are not necessarily transferable. You can be really good at being a video personality and not be good at managing a team of writers. They're not the same thing.
Yeah.
Even though ostensibly you're like, oh, I'm a video game guy, but it's just not related.
Not anymore. I mean, the people who click on written articles now are not the same people who click on YouTube articles or YouTube videos. All you got to do is just read the comments.
And with all the money in the world behind you, you can still fail. Like Joystick was owned by a major conglomeration. They still went under. Mm-hmm. Game Trailers just went under. Went up. Back. I mean,
didn't GameSpot too? Didn't they fold recently?
No, GameSpot's still around.
Who am I thinking of then?
GameSpot, IGN, Polygon, and Giant Bomb are like the four big ones that I can think of that are have been around for a long time and aren't in any danger.
I still go to PC Gamer. They're still my guys. So
well, there's also
they have some guys on site, but CVG, Computer and Video Games. That was who I was thinking of.
Uh-huh.
They folded recently. didn't they?
And there are more niche places like Jimatsu or Rock Paper Shotgun. Like there are ways to make it. But my point is, you can have everything in your favor and still fail. So having so much against you and being successful for as long as we were is actually kind of impressive. I think. But maybe
so that's why Sean is a frenemy.
He made our lives difficult, but like I'm sure he's a nice guy.
No, I mean I've been on Sean's show a couple of times since then. Since
so have I.
closed. So I mean we're still cool. It's just like we rib each other.
Okay. All right. Next one.
Oh man.
This is gonna be hell to edit.
There's only like 2 things to cut out. Or you just leave everything else in and just accept that it sucks. Like you don't have to fix it.
Okay.
Okay, here's a softball. My name is Rad asks, peanut butter, crunchy or smooth?
Crunchy.
We can't possibly fuck this one up.
I already said crunchy. I have nothing further to say.
No elaboration.
I'm gonna kick this question up a notch and say cashew butter.
You fucking snob.
But crunchy or creamy cashew butter.
Creamy cashew butter. Okay. Crunchy almond butter.
Suck my clit,
Austin. Lick my cashew butter coated nuts.
It depends what it's on. If it's a peanut butter or jelly sandwich, I want crunchy because I want some texture in there. If I'm just gonna put it on a banana and eat it, which is a thing I do, smooth, creamy.
Yeah, smooth goes better in smoothies without a doubt.
It's an application thing. This episode has gotten away from us.
All right, next.
Okay, Blake Schwartz asks, Austin, what's your favorite Gundam series? For everyone else, what's your favorite show or movie with giant robots? My enjoyment of a Gundam series is inversely proportional to its quality. So my favorite ones are like G Gundam, which is the weird racist one, or Gundam Wing, which is mostly like hot guys yelling at each other and not a lot of robot shit. So if you're coming to me for like, Austin, what's the best Gundam? Dude, that's the wrong tree. If you're like, which one's the most entertaining? Then I got you, dog. Watch G Gundam. There's a Gundam with a sombrero. It's fucking dope. There's one that's a windmill. There's one that's a fish. It's delightfully insensitive.
I gotta take the safe answer and say Macross Plus.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an anime. You can go Pacific Rim or whatever if you want.
No, I like Macross Plus more than Pacific Rim.
Huh.
And I'm talking about the 4-part OVAs, not the shortcut movie that they did.
I'm aware of Macross. I know there's a singing girl and there's aliens and then there's missiles or something.
No, Macross Plus is different. Macross Plus was a 1990s 4-part series about 2 test pilots who kind of like knew each other when they were younger, and then there's like a rivalry, and then there's a woman, and there is a singing computer at one point in time.
Nice.
But there's also a part where someone says, yeah, but luck is one of my skills, and I still use that line to this day, and people are like, what the fuck is wrong with that guy? Because they don't know where it's from.
Leon, giant robos.
Oh, I have nothing to add at this time.
Not even
I just
robot jocks?
I don't know what that is.
Obviously, Leon is a Voltron man.
Wait, Leon, you don't know what robot jocks is?
I think I do, but I don't care. I don't have anything to contribute to this one. Sorry. Also, anime is terrible.
How do you feel about Power Rangers then, Leon? Is Power Rangers your jam? I know they're not technically robots, but
they go inside one. No, look.
Don't you like it when they go inside a robot?
Oh, it's happening.
Sauce.
That sure is a thing you said. Look, how do I put this? How do I say this in a way that's not dickish? Okay, look.
As Leon's public representative, I'd like to make it formally known that he doesn't give a rat's ass.
What about?
Yeah, look. Look, I said this on Twitter last night. The stuff I liked in my childhood doesn't mean anything because I liked it when my brain wasn't fully formed. And that's the way people need to understand about nostalgic stuff. So I don't care about Transformers and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or other things that I liked as a kid, with rare exception, because almost none of it holds up.
When I was a child, I animated as a child. I video gamed as a child. I Power Rangered as a child. But now that I am a man, I Ingmar Bergman like a man. I Stanley Kubrick like a man.
Leon, what about the Iron Giant?
Okay, I guess that works. Look, I'm not saying that like anything I liked as a kid is automatically bad. I'm saying that we need to recognize that when we remember things from, for me, the 80s, fondly, we're remembering our childhood more than we are remembering the media.
They still make stuff with giant robots.
I understand, but it's stupid. and they make I'm sure they make stuff like that now, but mostly it's stupid.
You're stupid.
You're stupid.
No, you're stupid.
All I was trying to say is that Thundercats, Transformers, Ninja Turtles were all dumb. And if you watched them now, having never watched them as children, you would think this is terrible.
That should be your next video, Leon.
I feel like I've said enough.
Transformers, Thundercats, Power Rangers suck.
Many people who grew up watching the Transformers show, now confronted with a very faithful recreation in movies, are like, wow, this is shitty. Why didn't you replicate my childhood?
Oh my.
Think about
it's the same
Leon.
shit, people. Michael Bay nailed it.
Think about all those sweet hits, Leon. Next.
Sorry, look, it's not. I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't like Thundercats if you like Thundercats. What I am saying is that the media that you remember as a child fondly is something you're remembering more for your childhood than the media, and that's not a terrible thing. You know, I like Krull. Not because of Krull. There's no way I would watch Krull now for the first time and say, oh, that was great. I would say, that was cute, but I never need to watch it again. I like Krull so much because it was one of the only VHS tapes that I had as a child.
So you Stockholm Syndrome, do you?
Yeah, and it's okay to still like Krull or Thundercats or Ninja Turtles or whatever. It absolutely is. What I'm trying to say is it's important to recognize why. Because it will allow you to have discourse about it maturely and not the kind of shit I've been seeing lately. And that's it. Sorry, I went on a whole thing there. When all you asked me was, what's your favorite robot? I don't know what my favorite giant robot is. I guess I'll say the Iron Giant. I didn't watch that. I didn't watch that movie in my childhood, though. Not only because it came up a bit later, but because I didn't watch it.
The question had nothing to do with our childhood. It was just favorite.
I know.
I didn't see Macross Plus until I was like 20.
I didn't see Iron Giant until like 3 years ago.
It was just Leon trying to push his agenda. That's what that was.
His anti-big robot agenda?
His anti-childhood agenda. He's trying to take our childhood, Johnny.
Children are all terrible.
Does that mean you're remaking Ghostbusters again?
Look, if you say that a movie or remake or whatever destroyed your childhood, that's preposterous in and of itself, but let's pretend that that's possible for a second. Your childhood has been destroyed. Good. Investigate other interests and hobbies as an adult. Your childhood died the second you could register to vote. It's over.
You know, it's true. I don't miss the leather straps as much as I thought I would.
Hey, it's been really obvious that this entire episode has just been Leon holding back that rant. Do you want to? Is there anything else?
Oh, so much more. But like I said, the other things that I wanted to say, I just can't now. That's like a general statement. I have more specific stuff that I'm just not going to out of a mild respect.
Look, I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean to tell such a long story about So Crab, So Good. Can we drop it?
Can we go back to reading reviews? They're so good.
No. Next question, please.
Creature asks, "What is the official?"
Hi, Creature.
Hi, Creature. When is the official Word Funk swimsuit calendar coming out?
As soon as I become comfortable with what my body is.
Wait.
2783, after cyborg technology reanimates Leon's corpse and gives him a 6-pack.
Okay.
Creature, just as a quick aside here, if you were to remove that official clause from there, I think I can hook you up within a matter of days.
Oh my.
Just drop me a line. You know
Yeah,
where I am.
You don't want to see sexy cyborg Leon?
Well, I mean, I want to see sexy cyborg Leon. I'm just, maybe some of us need something to tide us over in the meantime.
Oh my goodness
One
gracious.
more, and then I have
Grossness.
I have like a letter I need to read you guys from a fan because I promised I would. So like one more regular question, and then I'll do this thing.
One more regular, like non-fucked up.
Oh, it's like really long and less of a question and more just like I love you guys so much, and here are all the reasons why.
Oh
But
no.
I
I'm looking at the other questions, and it's like some of these you've kind of already touched on. I don't know if you guys want to do any of these in particular. I feel like, well,
Are we
I'll
doing
try this one.
speed round?
No, I think we're doing last question.
Okay.
Because
all right.
because I don't want to be redundant. This one I feel like we can just crush.
right.
Yomamba Party Savage, which is a fucking
Nice.
dope name. I love everyone's Twitter names. You're killing it out there, people. Are there any film reboots or sequels that damaged a franchise so much it's become unwatchable now? Like, has it colored your shit? Basically, when you saw something you sucks? I don't think this is a thing for us, right? Aren't we all?
No.
We can compartmentalize, right?
Nah, man, I can still watch the first Highlander movie with no problems.
Yeah, the first Highlander movie is like a visually very stunning film. I think it's a gorgeous film just to sit and watch. Yeah, and I love the Star Wars movies just because I have not great feelings about the prequels does not change the fact that the other Star Wars movies are good. It doesn't. I'm not watching A New Hope. And I'm having acid flashbacks of Jar Jar Binks.
I do really appreciate that the presence of Episode 1 allows me the opportunity to say, well, in the words of Darth Vader, yippee!
I think Johnny and I talked on a previous show about how BioShock 2 ruins the fiction of BioShock 1, but I can still go back and play 1 and it's still good.
I can still play BioShock 2 and enjoy the gameplay and be like, oh, this is great. I can have a weapon and a plasmid active at the same time.
So even if a sequel or reboot or something takes a shit on the core concepts and everything you hold dear about a property, it doesn't unmake the old stuff. So I feel like that's a pretty easy question to answer for anyone with perspective.
A lot of the Splinter Cell games kind of went in a direction that I wasn't really a big fan of. They went to this whole Jason Bourne fast-moving kind of, secret agent. I'm gonna run in and gun the place up, but I was a big fan of the original Splinter Cell stuff, which was slow, pensive, quiet. Take your time. You were fragile. If people shot at you, you were gonna die. And those games still exist, and they're playable, and I can go back and play them pretty much anytime I want.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, grow up.
That makes it sound combative. It was just someone asking a question.
No, not to that person. I mean, in a general sense. Okay. Anyway, I need to read this letter. It's going to be hard for me to read because this person, in a very courteous way, put asterisks in the way of some of the swear words that are in this letter.
Because there's no fucking swearing on this show, guys. This is a clean show.
I put.
Now you tell me.
I don't allow language in the comments sections, but that has less to do with my delicate sensibilities and more to do with the fact that 99% of the, let's say, shitty comments that I get that are basically just personal insults include swearing, and that's my sort of catch-all way to stop them before they show up. but this person has done it wrong. Like this person is trying to say bitch, but instead of and like B, stars and then an H at the end, it's B stars and then a T. So could that be something else? Am I not? Maybe I'm just not up on my swears.
What's the context?
I don't. Well, I'll just read the whole thing and I'll just try to translate this. This is from someone who I believe English might be their second language because I can't pronounce his name. Tomas.
I hope everyone knows that we're doing this not to make fun because it's
no, God, no. It's very kind.
Well, it's just
anyway.
Leon's tone can come off in a certain way.
I have like a groaning monotone voice, as everyone who's listened to my show probably knows by now. And because I don't always like express exactly what emotion is going on in my voice. I hope everyone knows that I'm not purposefully trying to sound like a dick. It's just
Leon's an L-core. Anyway,
it's just
go.
It's just the weird sound of my accent. Anyway, Tomas says, "Hey guys, I would like to ask a bit of personal question from all three of you, but to put that question in perspective, first I must tell you something important. Thank you. You three have amused, shaped, inspired, and helped me in more ways than one in the last 4 years. Each of you gave / teached me something about life, people, myself, society, and basic, hilarious bitch? Basic, hilarious B, star T. Maybe that means something in his native language. I'm not sure. Leon, you showed me to embrace my dreams and work to do everything in my power to make a living in my passions. Austin, you made me feel, man. You really made me feel. Your stories about Katawa Shouju, your background, and how you played Anne when you healed Ronaldo's face, that made me tear up. And Johnny, oh dear Johnny, your humor is one of a kind. It always hits me in the best spots. And your worldviews made me think every time. You inspired me to learn about cooking, to always be who you are, and not let a style box you in, and not be a big fuck. I'm gonna say fucking, and then. All right, you're gonna have to help me with this one.
I'm sorry, not be a big what?
Hold on, hang on. I can't.
No, sorry, you went robo there for a second.
Okay, and not to be a big. I'm guessing he meant fucking big fucking D star E about it. I don't know what that means, but I think it's complimentary, and that's the important thing to take away from it.
Dick face. It's dick face.
Oh, maybe it is. Wow, this is like Wheel of Fortune.
I'd like to buy a vowel.
You three were there when I just needed a laugh and when I wanted to learn about gaming, but most importantly, lately, when I was coming out of a mild depression. You three gave me the power to pull through, and instead of falling into self-pity and pull my shit together, you didn't bleep out shit. That's inconsistent. Well, it doesn't matter. And better myself, instead of just float in the lukewarm piss. I'm gonna say that's piss. So after all of this, my question is, how does it make you feel to not just have fans, but to be important to these fans in the manner I described it? Thank you, Leon, Sir Hot Foam. First of all, thank you for your question. In terms of me, I'll just answer first because I'm on a roll talking now. How do I feel about having an audience? It's nice because it having an audience basically funds my life. If it was just me, talking to YouTube and only like 5 people watched, like it was when I made Heart of Gaming, then it would be neat, but it would not be something I would pursue for very long. So financially, it's wonderful. For as someone who likes discussing film, it's also great because I get to like talk with people and I get to start a conversation and then we get to have a conversation about it. So as someone who just enjoys the medium, the art form, it's good too. I try not. How do I put this? I try not to get a big head about the fact that I have a reasonably sized audience, because let's face it, it's still very small, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just, I have no delusions about my status in the world. But you guys are pretty cool. Like I said, I have like a mature audience, not a bunch of kids. I mean, if you are a kid and you watch my show, then you have a leg up on the other kids, I guess. They're all jerks. So thank you for watching my shows and listening to podcasts and whatnot over the years. I feel good. I guess would be the long and short of it. I feel good about it. Yeah, that's it. Anyone else want to take the baton here?
I mean, it's crazy that anyone listens to any of the garbage we put out, right? Like, it shouldn't happen.
Not me.
I mean, but, not Renegade.
It's crazy that...
Yeah, not Renegade Cut.
Yeah, it is weird that... It is kind of weird that this show has a following when it is very purposefully not a podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
But I mean, even from the BT days, just like people reading my articles and stuff, it's like, I think there's a basic human drive within everyone to be listened to. I think that's just a very satisfying thing on some kind of primal level. But to the extent that technology allows us now, where in your case, Leon, like thousands, tens of thousands of people, or in my case, like 100. I don't know how many people listen to my stuff. Much fewer. It's still like, I can't think about it too much. If I start thinking about like how the kind words everyone said about Dice Funk, like he said that he teared up with the scene with Anne, or with Becky out there drawing like literally professional quality fan work, and like I get choked up. I cannot even begin to express how gratifying it is to have people care about the goofy garbage we put out to the extent they do, and it's I could never repay the emotions that I feel for this interaction. It's priceless to me. So thank you. Like I feel like when you were reading it, we were all like laughing and stuff at the swear words and stuff, but like that was a very genuine moment. Like, this is awesome. And I try not to take it for granted.
I feel pretty humbled by the whole thing. Actually. I've never done like any of this stuff for a living, like Austin and Leon have their Patreons, and I know that Leon makes enough to make a living off it. Austin, I'm sure it just supplements what you've got going on. But without these podcasts, my life would be like more staggeringly normal than you might think. Now that I'm older and I work the job that I do, I don't get as much time. And my partner's in grad school as well, so I spend a reasonable amount of my time at home keeping up the house as well, making sure that, dinner's done. I cook, at least half and half during the week. Laundry, cleaning, things like that. I don't have many friends that I get up to shenanigans, these kinds of shenanigans with, like, Leon and Austin. Dice Funk is particularly kind of fun for me because it gives me a chance to stretch some creative muscles that have long since atrophied. Like I've spent a not unreasonable amount of time writing the stuff for Dice Funk, but like every week I put a couple hours in and I sit down and then we're through it in 45 minutes. Like, that's it. It's done. So I come here for something different. I come here for catharsis. I come here for release. I come here to laugh with a couple of friends, make a couple of jokes, sometimes crude, sometimes, a little more sophisticated, I hope. And the idea that somebody would want to sit in on that is not strange to me, I guess. Because we all want to make friends, We all want to share, have our opinions affirmed, have ourselves challenged. And the internet has been a really great way to facilitate that. But the idea that the things that we've been doing since like the BT podcast days and things like that would not only be like so deeply valued, but the very idea that it might be formative, that it might be so resonant within someone is well and truly humbling. And I can't thank you enough for that letter, even with your inscrutable swear words. And, nor can I thank any of our other listeners for sticking around. Enough.
Against all odds.
Apparently.
And all good taste and all good logic. I
don't even get to use my moneymaker on this show. Like, people don't even get to look at my face.
Can you imagine our listener numbers if there was like a face cam portion of this show?
If there was like, if we made a wacky face that was like, oh no, dicks!
We could turn it into full-on camming. Like, someone has to be in it. That has to be somebody's fetish. Is 3 nerdy, old, like half old dudes.
What's funny? Not funny, sad.
So the opposite.
Yeah. When I guess I shouldn't care, but I don't know if anyone will find this funny or sad. When I was married, I would get like all these constant no, I shouldn't say constant, but a reasonable stream of like Tumblr asks and emails and things of a sexual nature or a romantic nature from people who were like interested in being with me. Of course, I would always delete them or say that's not cool because I'm with someone. It's highly inappropriate. Like the second I got divorced, that stopped. Which in a way is fine because I'm not gonna hook up with someone through a Tumblr ask anonymously.
But that's a classic sitcom bit, right? That's like, oh, you're much more attractive when you're taken and stuff.
Yeah,
but isn't it like? Because people know, so it's like a playful element of like I can flirt with somebody. Like we flirt with each other. We're like, oh, Johnny, you're so sexy, because we know Johnny's not actually available.
He is pretty sexy.
But
no.
I had the other direction where I have to constantly tell everyone I'm dating not to listen to my stuff because it's embarrassing.
Oh my! But no. In all seriousness, that is more or less like dissipated. Maybe it has something to do with the idea that if someone is in a serious relationship or married, that they have something going for them. And some people find commitment to be attractive, which I suppose is true.
No, I'm pretty sure that Lionhead Studios nailed it down in Fable 1 that the most evil thing that you can do in the game is divorce your wife.
That's fucked up. That is true about Fable. That's fucked up.
Damn.
I think it has more to do with the fact that we've all outed ourselves as SJW cucks. We're so beta, guys.
Yeah.
No,
they don't want us anymore.
If it helps my Fable cred or whatever that is, it was not a bad breakup. We're still like best friends. Oh well. Yeah, I somehow have ruined my reputation. Oh well. Yeah, sooner or later, I actually just mentioned this on Facebook today. I was like, sooner or later, I'm going to stop being comfortable and content with being by myself, which is actually mostly okay. But, sooner or later, I'm like, oh, I should probably date because I'm almost 40. That I'm probably... I'm not.
This is the first...
I'm going to be 34 soon, but I should probably date before I'm almost 40 is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, no. Oh no, he's almost 34.
It's not old or anything, but at some point I'm gonna have to. It's been almost a year since it's just been me. So at some point I'm going to have to, say, okay, I should probably,
Leon, time takes time.
Old people. This is like the
Austin,
first. Yeah.
I'm gonna say it again. Lick my cashew butter covered nuts.
This is like the first time in my adult life that I've been single, and like nothing's changed. It's like exactly the same. I do
You're
the same
a child.
stuff.
You're a child, though. So it's fine.
Wait, what?
You're like a child, though, so it's fine.
I'm a grown man. Is it my voice? Is my voice too high? I'm 25.
Okay. All right.
Ugh.
I guess your brain's not being developed at this point. So I guess you're you're an adult.
Do you guys?
now.
I think we missed our second anniversary of this show, right? Because there's 52 weeks in a year. We do this every week, so our 104th episode would have been our 2-year anniversary. Yeah.
I feel like
It was kind of eclipsed by the Austin origin story, though.
Yeah, I mean,
It'd be a shame. It'd be a shame to do our 100th episode and be like, "It's the Austin origin story," and then 4 episodes later be like, "It's the orgy episode."
That's the one people are actually waiting for.
It's finally happened. This call has gone on for an hour and 43 minutes. Anything you guys want to say before we go?
Yeah. Samantha J says in her Yelp review of So Crab, So Good, 1 star is being too generous. Place is terrible. Seafood is frozen. It had an odd, dry spiciness to it.
Dry spiciness. All right. Must have had an off night.
Oh, man.
Maybe that's from, like, the competition crab shack from across the street. Just trying to sabotage their Yelp score.
Ethics in crab journalism.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Don't rub it counterclockwise.